Hey guys, so my window is broken on my Honda Element. The regulator died, and I'm not even sure what happened, whether it's the motor or the cable, whichever the case. I did get a new regulator. I basically got the cheapest one I could find on Amazon, and I'll leave a link in the description for you. But today we're gonna see how we could swap it out pretty easily. I've done one before many years ago in my old Element, so I'm gonna have to remember what I did and do it again. So let's give it a shot. So first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to remove this panel, of course, and it's held up by pins, plastic pins that you can kind of unplug. But there's also some screws. There's a screw underneath this plate right here. There's a screw down here, and the speakers need to be removed also. So those are the main three things, and then you can pop everything open. So let's start with the screw up here. Okay, so I got a screwdriver. All right, there. Okay. There are the pins on the bottom. Probably should have went from the top, but you can see somebody did that in the past. Now that exposes these screws here, so we're going to remove those. Okay, up next down here, you can see there's a little cover right there. Okay, right there. Take that out. Up next is the speakers. Let's pop out the speakers. There's a cover. Pop out the cover, and they're just held in by these plastic tabs right there. Right. Hang on to that, and then what you want to do is just unplug it, squeeze these two sides together to lift up that pin, and pull it out, and just put this aside. Okay, so now we should be able to just pull out the sides. There should be plastic pins holding it in. Okay. Oops, I forgot. You got to take out this guy too. Okay. All right. Looks like somebody broke my. Looks like somebody broke this previously. You can see there's some glue there, but it's this pin right here that you have to pull out. Pull it out and then slide it out. Over here on this side, same thing. You just got pop that one out. These are the pins. That's what they look like, plastic pins. All right, now I can continue to pull this out. Just get that out. This guy's gonna fit underneath. Okay, slides out over that thing, and this guy, we're just gonna slide him in. Okay, it's out. On the inside, there's this plug right here. That plug right here. Need to take this guy out. Okay, that's it. You got your door panel removed. So this definitely looks like there was some work done in this in the past when taking it out. All right, so if your vapor protection is still intact, you'd have to take it off this pin right here, which they kind of ripped off the first time, but it's fine because you have to actually remove it anyway. I mean, I assume you might be able to just do it with it still in, but it wouldn't be easy. So I'm going to remove it and then we'll re-glue it afterwards. Over here, there's a pin holding the wires in. So remove that. All right. You can see there's the pin. That's why it was so hard. Maybe I should have. You could reach around on the outside and push it down to get it out. That's probably what I should have done. Reached around here and pinched this to pull it out. Now you know. So down here, these three bolts we need to get to right here, and these four right here. Okay. Okay. So next up, I'm gonna need to remove these bolts right here. These four. That should free up the window for me to disconnect it from the window. Number 10. It's a little bit tight, so maybe you want to get a socket wrench instead of this. So you see what I did? I hung on to the glass because that's what was holding it. So you don't want it to fall, break the glass or anything like that. Now that the glass is free, you should be able to slide it up. And once it's slid up, you can see these two holes. They're going to expose. So I move up the glass. You can see the bolts, and now we could take the those bolts off the glass because that's what's hanging, what the glass is clamped down to. Take that one off, and then take that one off. It's okay. Both bolts dropped, but they're inside that well. Now I want to take out the glass. What I do, it's hard to see, but I slid that thing off. Now we can slide the glass up. You just saw that regulator fall down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the window up. All right, that should hold the window. All right, so next what we want to do is we have these three bolts right here, and you see they're kind of sliding type things. They go into this big hole and they slide into their position. So you don't have to take out the bolts completely. You loosen them up and then you bring them into this big hole and it'll push in. So let's loosen that up. The other bolts were kind of hard, so definitely get a socket wrench. It'll make it easier completely. Now should be able to slide it up and push it down through that hole. Let's remove. So what you want to do is you want to unplug the motor. This is the motor power right here. So what you want to do, there's a pin right here. Push that pin. get it out. Okay, this guy we're going to take out because this is connected to your motor. Pin right here. Let's push that through. Okay, that's pushed through. I'm gonna pop this guy out. Okay, it's a little hard to get out, but maybe if you reach around, you could again squeeze these pins from the back side. If you could reach around back here. Okay, so now that wiring is free, you should be able to take out the motor now. One more pin we need to remove right here. All right. Okay, there, now it's free. There's grease. All right, so you can see there's this should be tight. It shouldn't be loose like this. You know, there's the cable probably snapped on the inside or something like that. Who knows exactly what happened? That's why this died. Let's compare it to the new one. Okay, so you can see all this loose cable. Yeah, something snapped inside or something, but it should be tight like this. Okay, so let's install the new motor and regulator. Do everything backwards. And you got to make sure you get passenger or drivers because these are not compatible with the driver's side. You got to make sure you get a passenger side. See how we can wiggle this thing in. Okay, that wasn't too bad. For the motor, remember we have those pegs. We want to move them to those three holes. Stick your hand on this bottom side. And then okay, got those three bolts in there, so let's tighten those up. Okay, now that those are tight, we'll plug everything back in and we'll do the exact opposite of when we unconnected it. We have those pins that's holding everything in place. Okay, so here's the wire. We've got to make sure it goes into. There should be another one right here, but this motor only has one pin, so you don't need the second. We'll plug this back in. Okay, get this guy back into that hole. All right, looks good. All right, next up we'll put up the rails. I guess it's called the regulator. We'll screw that back in. Remember, they're gonna go in these holes here. line them up. Okay, now we could mount up the glass. All right, so remember when we took off the glass itself, we had it lined up to that thing down there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise that up. We're gonna raise up that this piece right here so that we could expose it right here like we did when we first unscrewed it. So we're gonna turn on the engine and get that motor up. Okay, so I turned on the accessories in my car ignition, but to get the motor to work, we'll have to plug this back in. And then we'll raise it till we get to that point. All right, that's the right spot. It should line up. Now I'm gonna unplug this again and get that out of the way. Now you can see that that plate now lines up, and we could release the window slowly and then line it up with those ports. All right, so I'm gonna have the bolt ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off the tape and bring it down slowly. Get to that point, and once you're there, the window actually stops because there's something holding it. You can see now that the window is there. We're going to screw these in. That in there. Okay. There's two of them. One on this side too. All right. That's it. So the windows should be a little bit lower to get to line up to that spot right there. And we already tested the motor, so I don't need to test that out because we lowered it. So I'm going to put everything back. Instead of gluing it, I'm just going to use some duct tape. So we'll get this vapor barrier back on. That should be good. Now let's get everything back on. Plug this in. That door handle through. Okay, and the little door lock thing, make sure that goes through. Okay, hook it on the top. Looks good. These things, pop them all back on. Okay, plug that back in. Don't forget to plug it. Okay, so it's a triangle, so there is a certain way you have to do it, and it won't fit. You can see I was trying to put it in this way, and that didn't fit, but you know, the plug should be pointed down, and that'll hook onto these plastic things. Be careful if you're going to use a drill. You don't want to screw the heck out of it. Okay. That cover back on. All right. This screw back on here. Close that tab. Okay, get that in. All right. Put back on that cover. Okay. Last things, these things here. All right. Everything's back to normal, so let's test it out. That easy.